Well, we've got a great show for you. Hi, I'm your host, Tom Patrick McAuliffe, man about town, author of now 33 books over the past 5 years. My latest ones you're going to talk about in just a minute. But I want to thank you so much for tuning in, for liking and subscribing. And we're talking about books and music. Migrating the channel, as you know, away from DIY type stuff. There are people far better than me, to teach you how to do these kinds of things. And I encourage you to go out and find that information, or send me a private email, and I'd be happy to talk to you. We're talking about books. If you know of an author that has a new book out, or a book that they want to talk about, please let me know. And coming up, let's see. We have some other guests coming up. Diana Catherine is a founder, publisher, and editor of Pages Promotions, and she also has the wonderful Indie Reads Aloud Storyteller podcast. That's going to be a lot of fun. I was just on the show reading from my book, Dark Open Sky, about the disappearance of Malaysian flight MH370. And that was a lot of fun. I like telling stories. Yeah. And this week we've got a great guest all the way from New Zealand, Damon Freeman, the creative director of Damanza. Geez, they've done about 15,000 book covers from big names. And he's going to talk to us a little bit about what constitutes a good book cover these days, and what is trending in fiction and nonfiction and like that. So stay tuned for that. But as many of you may or may not know, I released 2 books over the Labor Day weekend. Number 3 and the final one, number 4, of the Leviathan Protocol series. Underwater ecological adventure, or with your hero, Dr. Tessa Ross. She's a powerfully strong woman, with her cohort and partner in crime, syndicated journalist, investigative journalist Ethan Cole, and now their new partner in crime, Captain Pete the Greek. And they're going to do some pretty cool stuff. Did a lot of research for this. So check it out. Here's a 60-second spot about the new book. Enjoy. I'm super excited to have my next guest on the show, all the way from New Zealand on the other side of the planet. When we talk about book covers, this is the go-to guy. They've done like 15,000 book covers, award-winning. They're called Damanza. They're in, I believe, Auckland, New Zealand. I know they're in New Zealand somewhere. Let me just read their bio. Damanza has created over 12,000 covers for indie authors and major publishers alike, from debut launches to best-selling titles across all genres. Our focus is on bold, market-savvy design that stands out, especially at thumbnail size. We don't just make covers look good, we make them work. And his favorite quote is, "Readers judge books by their covers. You can fight it or you can win." Damon Freeman, creative director of Damanza. He lives and breathes book cover design, trends, and reader psychology. I'd like to welcome to the show creative director of Demanza, Damon Freeman. Welcome, welcome. Hello, sir. How are you?
Hey, Tom, how are you?
Good, good, good. How are things in New Zealand? So let me just get right into some of my questions.
Sure.
What do you see in trends as far as book covers these days, just in general?
Color, very much color. Bright, bright colors are trending a lot. Bigger text, bigger, typography is taking much more of a center stage than it might have in the past. Probably simpler concepts. You need to be able to recognize what's going on, or at least notice the cover and want to find out more, in 2 or 3 seconds, because most people are just looking at it as a thumbnail on a website. So
Right.
really it comes to color and typography is probably the most crucial aspects, at least within those first few seconds.
And which do you think is more important, the Amazon postage stamp size image or the actual book cover on the shelf in the bookstore?
For most people, it is that Amazon postage size book thumbnail. That's much more important. For 99% of authors, that's going to be with the first time that a reader finds your book and sees your book and interacts with it. So, I mean, that is absolutely crucial that it attracts attention quickly.
Well, I was amazed at your website and your reports, the free uh, book cover analysis that you guys offer
Sure.
was spot on. Difficult to hear sometimes, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, that's the case.
Right, right. Um, and and you answer each one of them. How do you find time in your day? It's like amazing.
I have quite a good routine at the way that I do them. I can look pretty quickly at a cover and sort of recognize what needs to change and how and what's not working. So it's just, I mean, I do a lot of them, right? We've been involved with the design of about 15,000 covers, so it's relatively easy to look at a cover straight away and kind of go, okay, well, these are the things that need to change and be improved. And it's just then a matter of putting that into a report that's easy to understand and get the point across.
Well, now you offer a free analysis on somebody. They can upload their book cover and you'll help them with that. But you also talk to me about these book cover trend reports, if you will.
Yeah, so I put together a bunch of those, which are really, each genre is a little bit different, although there are certainly similarities. And that's if you were to look at, a few of those trend reports, you'll see that color and typography comes through in most of them. Um, how important it is. So really those trend reports are just looking at different cover trends and seeing what's happening within each genre and putting together a summary, I guess, of if you are designing your own cover or if you're briefing in a cover designer, what to look out for, what readers are expecting, how important it is that your book fits in properly to a genre so that somebody who's, most people when they're looking for books, they'll go, all right, well, I want to read a thriller. They're not looking at bookshelves like, I want to read a random genre, right? They want to see, I'm looking for a thriller or a fantasy book, whatever it is. And then they'll go straight to that section, right? Whether it's in a bookstore or on Amazon, they'll go to the thriller section or the fantasy section. And then it's important that your cover looks like it belongs in that section, right? It needs to look like it belongs with the bestsellers within that genre for a reader to potentially go, okay, well, this looks like something I might want to spend money on, right? Because it looks like it belongs here. And because it looks like these bestsellers, it's likely that I'm going to enjoy reading it because if I'm a fan of this genre, I've probably read one of those bestsellers or two of those bestsellers. So this book looks like one of those. I'm likely to enjoy that one as
That
well.
makes perfect sense. And I love the quote that you had on your site. Readers judge books by their covers. You can fight it or you can win.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
You can invest your ego all you want.
Yeah,
If that's what you're about, that's fine.
yeah, yeah.
Um, and that was interesting. So if somebody was to come to you with a concept, or they come with a rough book design,
Yeah.
ballpark, what does it cost to have a book cover made these days?
So from our side, it varies quite substantially, but it's based on really how many options do you want to see. So it's from our side, it's based a lot on the time we're going to spend designing it, right? So for us, we start at $395 for a book cover design, which will be one option and with limited changes, right? And it goes up. We've got a sort of a two cover option with unlimited changes, and it goes up to four cover option with unlimited changes. And then you're looking at about $1,600 for the top package. We also have a new service called the Everything Package, which is kind of what it says, right? It's everything. It's the cover design, it's interior formatting, it's promotional artwork, it's help with the Amazon page, it's help with the blurb,
Wow.
it's trying to give you everything that you need and you don't really have to think about it. Often what happens is authors will come and they're not quite sure what formats they need. Do they want a paperback? Do they want a hardcover? Do they need an audiobook cover? So the everything package, we just thought, okay, well, it'll just include all of it, right? You don't have to know what you need up front. Just get the everything package and we'll just provide everything. And then as you might need it later on in your launch or your writing career, then you've already got all of those elements.
And can folks come if they just want an audiobook cover, let's say, or an ebook cover? Can they come
Yeah,
and
so
purchase that?
so yep, so absolutely. So the ebook cover would be that standard. So all of our packages include the ebook cover. But if you then and they also include an audiobook cover for free, right? So
Oh, nice.
if you only need an audiobook cover, effectively you'll get a free ebook cover with that. So it's just a cover concept, a cover design. It starts at 395, and you will also get an audiobook cover if you need.
And they walk away and they own that cover forever.
Yeah, they own that cover forever.
So if there's are you seeing more photorealistic imagery on covers or illustrated covers?
Certainly more illustrated covers than before. Um, so yeah, photorealism is still and has always been the more predominant style of cover, but there are certainly more illustrated covers that are coming into the marketplace in certain genres, not so much in thrillers and non-fiction maybe, but in romance, very, very much, right? Romance covers used to always be just the embracing couple on the cover or the handsome man or the beautiful woman. And now there's a lot of those cartoon style covers, very, very bright, very colorful, very simple. That's fine. Those they work. They work. They're popular.
Whatever will get you more readers, right?
Whatever will get you there. And those are the trends, right? And people follow the trends. Although it's starting a little bit now to go back a little bit to more photorealistic in romance, right? Right now, it started um, with that Frida McFadden. Her covers, which I guess I'm calling them. It's not. Sorry, not romance, but they're kind of I don't know romantic suspense, right? Or thriller with a side of romance. Those are going more towards the very, very simple white, clean um, covers, which is quite interesting.
Are most of your clients in Asia, America,
In the
Europe?
US, mostly in the US, probably
Mostly in Europe?
95% in the US. Yeah.
Um, have you ever thought about writing a book about book covers?
Not really. I not wouldn't be good with that kind of thing. That's
I
my
don't know.
talents do not lie in
You got the
writing or anything.
natural heart of a teacher, man. I mean, the emails you sent me with the tweaks and stuff, it just was, it's so, and so important these days because anybody
Sure.
who's been on Kindle, Amazon, and
Yeah.
seen some of the book covers, uh,
Absolutely.
It's a little bit disheartening sometimes. I always ask my guests the one question: if there was one thing you wish people knew or authors knew about your agency and or about creating a good book cover, what would it be?
Well, not necessarily about our agency, but about a book cover. Book first fit in, then stand out. I always say first fit in, then stand out. Fit in with those bestsellers within your genre. Don't try to be different and super unique. It's not going to work because that's not what readers of your genre are looking for. They're looking for something that they think they're going to enjoy. And if you do something that's too different from those things that they already enjoy, chances are they're not going to be picking up your book as quickly as they might be. However, once you've been able to kind of get that match, or you at least you've worked on fitting in with the covers that sell well within your genre, then you might be able to do something that's a little bit different from that. But the priority, fit in with the bestsellers in your genre before you're looking at doing anything different.
Well, the other things you've talked about is that there's a definite psychology to this,
Yeah.
and in that regard, why do you think we as authors do that? Do we think in our minds that by having an outside the norm, different kind of unique cover, that's going to bring us more readers, or is that an ego thing, or
Well, I
you
don't
must
think
see
it's
it, you must see it a lot.
yeah, well, you know what happens. I'll tell you what happens is that we work with a lot of very successful authors, and those very successful authors do not have that same ego. They have that feeling of, or they have that, they give us the guidance of, this is what my book's about. You guys come up with the cover. We send them the first options. Normally they go, that's the one we like. You know, one of these, make maybe a small tweak, whatever it is, and it's done. What often happens is the less experienced authors, the newer authors have a very specific idea. We might send something and then they tweak and fret and worry over the smallest details that ultimately don't matter. They're not going to affect whether or not somebody buys the book, right? And we get that all the time. And I think the reason is because, especially a new author, you're very much clearly very fully invested in your story, in your book, and you put a lot of time and work and effort into it, and you care so much about it that you maybe lose sight of the bigger picture of what the cover is there for, right? The cover is there to get people to pick it up or click on it to find out more about it. And that's all that the cover's there for, right? It's not there to tell people what's inside the book. It's just there to get them to click on it and to find out more. The next page, the Amazon page, or you're turning over the book and reading the description, then you've got to sell it, right? But that very, very first pick up of that book is the most important. And that for the cover to do that, it has a very specific promotional marketing advertising role, not necessarily a storytelling role. And I think authors sometimes lose sight of that.
Um, any books on book cover design that you could recommend?
I don't know any books on book cover design. I'm sure they're out there and they exist. It's just I haven't looked at any of them.
And what are you reading these days, on a personal level? Are you any new books that you're reading that you might like to recommend?
I'm reading a series by Ryan Cahill. I don't even remember what it's called. Of Blood and Fire, I think is the name of the series.
And is
Of
that
Darkness and Light. It's
fantasy,
fantasy. Yeah,
sci-fi?
I mean, it's fantasy. I mean, I switch, I guess, between nonfiction, fantasy, sci-fi, thriller.
And do you mostly read print books or ebooks or audiobooks?
Currently, I'm mostly listening to audiobooks because I don't have time to read. So what happens is when I'm driving to work, I'll listen to an audiobook. If I had more time, I'd prefer to read than listen, to be honest. I prefer to read ebooks or physical books, but I just don't have time. So I spend more time listening to books at the moment.
One last question, Damon. We hear a lot about AI these days, both on the generative side as well as the assisted side. And certainly some have said that AI from an image generation standpoint has not helped our creative brothers and sisters. Um, what are your thoughts about that? Do you see AI having a more of a role in the future, or has it affected your business at all?
Yes, it has affected us. I found it to be useful, AI, in many aspects. I found it, we we sometimes use AI in cases where it is the best option for the cover, and if the author is open to it and wants to do it, right? So I found that we're not illustrators. So when we design covers, we use existing stock photos and we put them together and we make a cover out of a sort of a composite of different stock photos and images, right? We license those images and we use those images. But sometimes that's just not possible. Sometimes you want a creature that doesn't exist or a scene that's impossible to create using stock photos naturally. And I mean, you could spend all the money in the world and you can get professional photographs taken and you can do all of those things. But if you don't have $5,000 or $6,000 budgets for these kinds of things, then AI can be useful to do that, or to create that scene. What I have found is that AI on its own is terrible at designing covers, right? You can prompt AI and it will do what you want it to do, but you can see that it's AI and you can see that that's what it is, right? You can see AI made this cover, and that for many, many, many readers can give the impression that, well, AI wrote this book. And that can turn readers off, and often does turn readers off. So if you're using AI to use a cover, and I think authors, I don't have any problem with author using AI to design their cover. I think it's a budget saver and it's a time saver and all of those kind of things. I understand people may have ethical problems with it, and that's fine, right?
Should they be forced or recommended to disclose that?
That they used AI in the book or on the cover?
Yes,
I don't believe so. I don't think they should be forced to do anything.
because Amazon thinking about asking
Well,
that.
Amazon does ask you to disclose it, but they don't. That's for their. I believe that they ask that to protect themselves from any copyright infringement issues.
Very
I
interesting.
think that's the only reason why that they ask that. They don't share that with any potential readers. I mean, you put it on your they ask you to put it there, but it's not disclosed. I mean, we work with some very, very well-known authors and we work with publishers who use AI as part of their cover design. I don't know about about their writing, but AI is extremely common in covers at the moment, all over. And you won't know it. You can't see that it's AI because it's different to AI being used to create an entire cover, which for now, for the most part, is quite noticeable.
Hey, this is kind of off subject a little bit, but why are printers in Australia, New Zealand, Japan, Europe better than US printers?
I've got no idea.
I mean, there's a
don't.
noticeable quality difference when I order a book from, somebody in the UK or something, and I get one from Amazon or Ingram Spark.
I don't know. I don't know.
It's
I mean,
just
they should. I know they're all different.
Your colors are more saturated.
Yeah,
Well, hey, thank you. So Damon Freeman, creative director of Demanza. We'll have your contact information for the website right down here. Thanks so much for taking the time. I really appreciate it.
no problem, Tom. Great to meet you.
God bless.
Take it easy. Cheers.
Thank you, sir. All right. And that was Damon Freeman, creative director of Demanza, all the way over in New Zealand, talking about what constitutes a great book cover. So, you folks that are, and we got some other interviews coming up that are kind of geared towards independent authors. self-published authors. And we're going to finish up with those. And then I'm looking for authors that have new books or have books out that they want to talk about, and or musicians and bands. We've got some interviews of that coming up. I'm going to get into the top 10 New York Times, USA Today, Draft the Digital best-selling books. And we're also going to do best CDs, top 5 best CDs out according to the Billboard Hot 100 list. And I think we're also going to do audiobooks this week. Do the top 5 audiobooks, and we'll rotate. We'll do one time, we'll do Audible. Next time, we'll do Chirp. Next time, we'll do, and like that. So, want to get all different kinds of lists. I like top 10 lists. I like top 5 lists. Well, let's take a look at the top 10 book lists market these days, from compiling from New York Times bestsellers, USA Today, Draft the Digital's bestseller lists, and Audible, and we'll throw a whole bunch of stuff in there. So let's take a look at books. Let's take a look now at music. Well, I never been to Spain, but I kind of like the music. What do you listen to these days? If you're an author, do you listen while you write? Or just if you're a reader, not just a reader, you're the most important of this whole equation. Do you like to listen to music while you read? What bands have you been listening to lately? Any good CDs I should know about? Let me know. Let's take a look at the top 5 CDs. This is in the all-encompassing adult contemporary genre of music from the Billboard Hot 100. Here they are. We've got some musicians that are going to be coming on the show. Young woman named Brittany Madden, who's the lead singer of a band called One More Thing, I think it is. They're out of Detroit. We're also negotiating and trying to get, we have a source for the bass player that played with Carlos Santana or plays with Carlos Santana. And like I say, if you know any musicians or songwriters, have them get in touch with me. Book info at nextstopparadise.com. Well, I really want to thank you so much for tuning in again this week. Episode number, what? I think 13, lucky 13. And thanks for liking and subscribing. It really helps as we're building this community, talking about books and music. We're migrating more to that. If you know of somebody who has a band or they're a singer or a songwriter and got a new CD out or a CD that they want to talk about, have them get in touch with me. Same thing with authors. If you've got a new book, if you've got a book that you want to talk about, or you're thinking about writing a book and you got some ideas, come on the show or send me an email. Bookinfo at nextstopparadise.com. Email will be right there at the bottom. Fire's going good over here, and the creek is on the rise. And please join us again next week. You make it a great day.